When you hear the word remake, I'm sure that the first thing that comes to mind isn't excitement. It's hard to escape the fear just thinking about how a series you've loved for so long is about to be ripped from its peaceful retirement and dragged into hell just to sell a few t-shirts at Hot Topic, on top of being given a CGI facelift that looks like it was rendered on a microwave. It's an all too real situation, but actually, anime remakes are a good thing. Bad remakes definitely do exist, but if no one ever took the chance, lots of beloved series would just fade away, ignored by modern audiences that can't quite keep up with all the newer stuff coming out today. And trust me, I've got a personal stake in this, as my favorite anime of all time just received a remake, but we'll get to that later. Let's just say it had me both excited and terrified. So, if not every series can be good, what is it that makes one fail in the first place? There's actually a lot that can go wrong when doing a remake. For example, the production team could be working on a budget that's smaller than what I had living off of ramen back in college. Or even with a good budget, it could be absolutely mismanaged, making it feel just as bad. Or perhaps they don't even really care at all. It's all too obvious when something's being done just as a cash grab, hitting a series with little more than a fresh coat of paint. And even if they did care, there's still the final boss that is pacing to conquer before you have a truly good remake, as bad pacing can make for an unbearable series. It's really unfortunate when it happens. You see something that was once proud and at the forefront of what it meant to be a good anime, stripped down into nothing but a shell of its former self. There's no love going into this, and sometimes it gets messed up so badly that it becomes legendary. And yes, I mean you, Berserk. For all the source material and money that went into something like this, to end up with the CGI hellscape that we got, it's nothing short of diabolical. Especially since the Blu-ray release proves that a decent rendition was possible. But even through this, there are upsides. Seeing how remakes of the past failed, new ones have a chance to shine even brighter. Hopefully, they avoid the mistakes of the past, but learn from the remakes that were successful. And this is a trend that I truly think we're beginning to see. So, what makes one succeed where so many fail? It's interesting because the answer isn't as simple as just do it right. It's about understanding what makes a remake resonate. Just as there are strong reasons for a remake to fail, there are equally strong reasons for one to be successful. Like in the past, the main option for an anime that had temporarily run out of source material was just to pull a Star Trek and begin to make stuff up as they go. Sure, occasionally there would be filler, but most of the time that wouldn't be long enough to see any substantial catch-up in the source material. And because of this, there are many anime that never saw the true ending realized in the way that their author intended it to be. They instead saw the production crew fumble around and do their best to make something fit to keep in time with budgets and deadlines. Some great examples of this are Fullmetal Alchemist and Hellsing. Both series came out and ended long before their respective manga were even close to being finished. It led to some entertaining but absolutely incorrect story arcs, which is something that modern anime no longer really do. They just take a 4-year hiatus instead. Brotherhood and Ultimate completely changed the game here, revisiting things that on their own were perfectly fine, beloved series, and giving them a chance to shine in the way that only the completed source material could provide, giving them deeper meaning, something that felt complete. There are so many other anime that have this issue. Like, personally, I would love to see a Soul Eater Perfect, or whatever they might call it, done in the same way, because the ending they created for that series was nothing short of tragic with that punch of friendship. Overcoming past limitations is the lifeblood of making an anime remake, and it's not just about unfinished source material. Sometimes even a complete original can be held back by the tools, time, or budget of its era. Neon Genesis Evangelion, absolute icon of an anime series. It's one of my favorites, and one of the best examples of something beloved only getting better with a remake. It's no secret that not only did the series suffer from a low budget that essentially ran out and caused the last 2 episodes to be fashioned together using repeated clips from earlier in the series, but it also suffered from really tight deadlines. It was already a series that was hard for me to understand at a young age, but to have an ending that was that confusing made me really wonder if the show was as good as I thought. But now, I know it's because Hideaki Anno was never truly given a chance to make something that lived up to the vision in his head. And not even the movies could truly save it. Not until years later with the Evangelion rebuilds. Starting with a beat-for-beat retelling, they quickly shifted into so much more, showing just how powerful a remake could be. While they should remain faithful to the story, they can and should make some changes within reason to tell something that's either more complete or at least more in line with the original intentions of the creator. Modernization, when used correctly, can really take a series to new heights. And that's because the world is constantly changing. Just because something was interesting or okay 20 to 30 years ago, doesn't mean that it still is now. And this is where we get to what I was hyping up earlier. It's the remake that had me equal parts, oh my god yes, and oh no, please don't ruin it. It's Ranma 1/2. I have been obsessed with this show since middle school. It's my absolute favorite, and honestly, it helped shape a lot of who I am today. But it's also a total mess at times. There are poorly made trans jokes, pervy gags, and so much other random stuff in this series that just aged terribly. When the remake was announced, I was terrified. But so far it's doing great. It's keeping the charm, but softening the edges a little. Overall, it still feels like Ranma, just with less of the punching down that the original was full of. It's something that I've recommended to newcomers, and it has my full seal of approval. That said, I'm watching season 2 like a hawk, because once that walking lawsuit Haposai shows up, things are sure to get dicey. That little gremlin is the main reason why I'm making an entire video on the worst trope in anime. By the way, consider subscribing so you don't miss that. Modernization isn't censorship, it's awareness. It's saying we can keep the chaos without being carelessly offensive and still deliver a product that connects both old and new fans. And I believe Ranma is the perfect example. But remakes don't have to be perfect to be good. In fact, some of the best have glaring issues that people are willing to overlook. Let's look back at Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. As much as I love it, I do have to point out that the early pacing of this series is by far some of the worst. You'll remember earlier that I mentioned pacing is massively important in making something watchable for the viewers. It can't be too fast or too slow, lest you alienate large amounts of fans. And Brotherhood treats the first few episodes like a speedrun. It makes the assumption that the viewer likely watched the original Fullmetal Alchemist and does its best to get to the point where the stories diverge as quickly as it can. For me, someone who has indeed watched both, sure, it was a little annoying, but I managed to get through it and retain all of my excitement. But a new viewer? I can't help but wonder if they truly understood the impact of the death that occurs early in the series. Sure, Colonel Mustang has his iconic scene in the rain, but with less time to get to know the characters, I just have to imagine that it doesn't land the way that it once did. It doesn't let new viewers understand just how much it drives the story. It's really rare that anime gets pacing perfect, and while it's certainly possible for it to succeed with bad pacing, there's no point in alienating fans with a poor remake. They already walk such a thin line between magic and tragic that even a single misstep can cause a ripple of disaster through the series. And yet, I remain wholly in favor of them. A bad remake can hurt. It feels like they're taking something you love and destroying it before your eyes. But the thing is, even through all that, they can never take your memories. They can't take all the fun you had watching the original series. And honestly, I feel like a bad remake helps you appreciate what you had even more. When you see someone fumble a story you love, it kind of highlights just how special the original was. It's like, wow, they really did have lightning in a bottle, huh? The nostalgia just hits harder, and suddenly you're back rewatching the old episodes just to chase that feeling again. Heck, it might even drive some new viewers to go see why people are so upset over something they see as just a new anime flop. So yeah, not every remake is going to be good, but I still think that every one of them can do good. That said, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far and you vibe with cozy anime rambles, hit like, maybe subscribe. We're building something weird and comfy here, and there's always room for one more. So tell me in the comments, do you agree that anime remakes can do wonders? Or am I just yapping? I really want to know. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.